Hello, I'm Britton Clennett and welcome to China Insight, where we discuss the latest issues affecting this rapidly changing country. Well, many children in China have lost their childhood because of HIV and AIDS, with the United Nations estimating that several 100,000 children have been orphaned by the infection in China. One of the organisations set up to support kids affected by AIDS in the country is the Qiheng Foundation, founded by Du Cong. He's joining me today in the studio. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Britton.
What made you want to start this foundation?
After my study and work in the US, I moved back to China. And at that time, because of my job in banking, I had a lot of opportunities to travel to the countryside doing due diligence on our investment projects. And then I was quite shocked that a lot of people haven't even heard of HIV, and that was 20 years ago. That's why I started the Qiheng Foundation, which was founded 18 years ago. At that time, my main purpose was to do HIV prevention and education. And later on, I became aware of the situation of the blood selling. A lot of the poor peasants, due to ignorance and poverty, had to sell blood to make a living. And I made some to those rural areas, and I was quite shocked by what I saw. I remember one family that I visited. There was a young child dying at home, and the mother, when she saw me, she jumped at me and said to me, "Please help my son." And then I saw the child dying of AIDS. I haven't seen such intense human suffering right in front of me, and that was a defining moment. In addition to material support, especially for their education, psychosocial support is very important for them to live out of the shadow of AIDS and to rebuild their self-confidence.
And the importance of that support is something that we bring up in the following report. China Insight reporter Annalise Nielsen investigated the issue a little further. Let's take a look.
The sound of singing doesn't often fill this Henan school. But at summer camp, students from across the region are enjoying a break from their usual routine of maths and Chinese lessons. These college students are here to spread hope through the Qiheng Foundation.
So why did you want to start the project in this village?
有一个理念是一帮三，三帮九，然后就是说，他们通过自己的社会实践来体会到，其实他们也是不只是只能被别人。
It's a challenge Su Hua understands well. The young college freshman comes from an AIDS-impacted family herself.
我会变得更加自信了。以前站在讲台上可能会觉得不好意思啊，然后现在就会觉得很能说站上边，然后更多的是自己的能力得到了锻炼。现在在社会上实践能力是很重要的。
It's an opportunity another student, Zhao Ru, would love to have, but her summer holiday is spent at her family home in rural Henan, doing the chores for her parents and 4 siblings. Her father contracted HIV selling his blood when Zhao Ru was just a child. When he discovered he'd been infected with HIV, Li Bo was convinced he'd been handed a death sentence.
立马都得去死，真是！你要饭你都没地儿去，你打工进厂人家都不可能要来。咱家里也越来越好了。
It seemed all hope was lost for the family. He'd unknowingly passed the virus on to his wife. There was no other option, he thought, but for his oldest daughter to quit school and provide for her siblings.
就是想让他去打工。 最后都是接到咱执行这个资助以后，执行都鼓励我说，孩子该读书，还得让他去读书，不能他说耽误恁2个人有病，他是说断送孩子的前程，都是让孩子去做学。
Although both Libo and his wife were able to get treatment, life has still been a struggle. His wife developed cognitive issues. However, in the end, it wasn't the diagnosis, but the stigma that came with it that threatened to destroy their family. It's why they've been forced to keep their condition secret from the other villagers.
他们也知道艾滋是会传染，所以他们也会歧视，所以我们就隐瞒的比较好。然后，所以他们不知道我爸我妈是因为这个病，而是我们对外告诉说我妈是得了脑炎。
The key to this family's survival has been education.
因为我爸他双腿残疾，我妈现在又有点傻。假如说我在想的话，假如说不是我们姐妹几个这么努力拼命的学习，我想我们家一定会被人看不起。
Thanks to the support of her father, Zhao Ru could go to university. It was a courageous show of faith in his daughter's abilities that ultimately saved the family's future.
当初我那年高2升高3，我妈生病，然后我对我爸说，我说不想去读大学了，我想去打工。然后我爸说不行，他说你一定要去读，他说你不读你会后悔，我也会后悔，我死都不瞑目。我当时特别不理解我爸，然后后来等上了大学第1年的时候，我就觉得我能明白我爸说的了。
She hopes to find a job in the provincial capital and to earn enough money to give her brothers the same chance.
Henan province has been at the centre of the AIDS epidemic in China. It was here in the 1990s that a controversial blood buying scheme infected tens of thousands of people with HIV and AIDS. It's an issue that continues to plague this region till today, and as we discovered, there are no easy answers.
Behind these walls is an unassuming factory line where women who've been affected by HIV produce carrier bags for the Qihang Foundation. It's not just the income that's important, but also being somewhere they're not being judged.
在工作之余呢，他们就把这个病的事情好像是放到一边了，感觉我也是个健康人，我有能力挣钱来帮助家里面，来帮助孩子。这些袋子。
But it hasn't been an easy journey for the factory. Despite their bags being sold all over the world, the managers have faced challenges keeping the business afloat.
设计还是那个模特，有一位工人就说：“那如果你不做了，那我们怎么办？”说实话，当时听到这句话的时候，我就想，这些工人也特别需要这份工作。看来我还能继续再咬牙再坚持，做这份工作，不是一是为了我自己，更重要的还是为了这些受艾滋影响的这些妇女。因为他们太需要这份工作了。
就是腺液感染了，脉血感染之后就现在去世了，08年就去世了。也可以说去世之后给我家庭带来多方面的困难吧，多方面的受到很大的损失。
For workers like Fan Qing, if it wasn't for the factory, she'd have struggled to survive.
从精神方面都给我带来很大的好处。每年收入1000多块钱，也都让几千块钱可以补助解决家庭的情况。
And now the bags she lovingly crafts are used all over the world by people who probably don't realise their special significance.
It was over 10 years ago the Centre for Disease Control partnered with the Chinese government to help centralise their efforts to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS in China. It's from here they've overseen different charity projects as well as organised provincial level testing centres and treatment programs. But as the number of cases of HIV and AIDS continues to rise in China, the question becomes, how will they deal with this ever-changing challenge?
There are about 850,000 total cases.
The situation is made all the more difficult by the changing demographic of HIV victims. Blood donations are now strictly regulated in China. HIV has developed into an increasingly social problem.
People hurt by stigma is even worse than HIV itself because people are emotional animals, right? For the biological illness, we can be reduced by medicine. For emotional hurt, it's very hard to be healed.
It's a pain one man, Xiao Ji, knows all too well.
没有办法去辩解的，也就是说必须要承认，就是也是男性接触感染的这个病，然后但是呢，这个感染的病最终的一个目的呢，就是最终的一个初衷就是由于自己的一个保护意识不够强， 才会造成感染的。
While he can live with the HIV diagnosis, it's killed off any chance of a normal life.
我最早确诊的时候，那个时候的工作，就是因为我是感染者，然后这个理由给我辞退的。然后辞退了之后呢，我从那以后开始，我就每面试一家公司或者一个工作的时候，我都会公开我感染者，包括我自己性取向这样的一个身份。然后也是，就是差不多绝大多数的时候都是面临的拒绝，而且还有一部分人就是会认为同性恋就应该得艾滋病，然后还有的人认为就是得了艾滋病，然后你还是同性恋，你就是没有理由再去活下去了。
He's not alone. Last year, 90% of newly diagnosed HIV cases in China were sexually transmitted. It's why UNICEF is working to reach them early.
Why is it so hard for young people in China to get access to HIV testing?
For many children under the age of 18 who were in high-risk behaviour, who may be boys having sex with boys or high-risk groups that are engaged in risky sexual behaviour, they are less likely to access services and less able to access testing because they need their parents' consent.
And it's a critical issue. In 2014, 50,000 Chinese adolescents aged 15 to 19 contracted HIV. UNICEF is working closely with the government to develop a new policy.
Because HIV and AIDS still has a huge amount of stigma, it's very difficult for young people often to go to the regular health clinic or the CDC centre and get a test and admit they've been sexually active. So they often don't do this. They don't seek out proactively these services.
Overwhelmingly, victims are now contracting HIV through male-to-male sex. And this tech company has an innovative solution.
From the front of the Blued office, it looks like any other tech company. It's not until you get to the back that you find what they call their safe testing room. It's here they're leading the fight against the spread of HIV among the gay. Let's take a look.
Here, any gay man can walk off the street and access a free, confidential HIV test. After this simple swab, they'll know whether they need a blood test to confirm a HIV diagnosis and are given counselling.
大概是2个月前。
我们想用一种温柔的手段来推动社会的进步，比如用经济的手段，比如用对话的手段，比如用沟通的方式。
Gang Le has emerged as an extraordinary leader of China's gay community. A former police officer, he launched his first Chinese gay networking site. But now he's one of the government's strongest advocates of HIV and AIDS prevention, connecting his app's 27 million users to advice about safe sex.
其实艾滋病是全人类的病，只不过因为男的同性恋者他们之间的这种没有保护的不安全的性行为，才容易导致这种疾病的传播。如果异性恋他们没有这种安全的保护措施，他们也很容易得这种疾病。2012年年底的时候，李克强总理的接见。他对于我的人生，或者对于我们现在这家机构的发展，其实起到了非常非常重要的一次很大的转折，因为他也真正的向整个社会或我们的合作伙伴或者我们的社区人群证明了，就是你看大蓝他们做的这件事情很有意义，政府也很认可他们。
Indeed, the government has come to champion multiple non-government organisations and their crucial role in reaching those who are most vulnerable.
它又是一个隐秘的。社会组织来接触这些高危人群呢，他们就更加的容易，更加的方便更加的方便。有些社会组织呢，实际上也就是这些人群来成立的、来组织的这样一些社会组织。所以，我们国家两办发的这个通知啊，它总体来讲是鼓励成立更多的社会组织，鼓励过去已经有的社会组织来提高他们的能力，同时呢。也要规范这个行为。
The Chinese government is committed to a UN target of eliminating AIDS by 2030. It means these students who've grown up with the fear and stigma of the disease could see it disappear in their lifetime. We caught up with the Qiheng summer campers during a trip to Beijing, where they hope to get a taste of life in the big city and maybe a stroke of inspiration about their future. A tour of Tsinghua University, one of the two most prestigious universities in China, offers a look at just how high they can aim.
It's only been a week here in Beijing for these kids, but the hope is it's opened their eyes to a world of possibilities beyond the stigma, the limitations of their past.
So we saw that summer camp. What kind of other programs do you guys offer?
We run an 11-year-old art therapy program because a lot of the kids may not be verbally able to express their pain, but through art, especially drawings and other performing arts, singing and dancing, it is a very good therapeutic impact for them.
Where is this picture taken?
This was taken in Yunnan province, and we have summer camp activities there. And I think a lot of our work for the primary school students and junior high school students focuses not on education sponsorship only, but also psychosocial development.
Right.
Because for them, going to school is relatively easy financially because the government has free tuition for the first 9 years. What we are doing is to support them with living expenses and book and miscellaneous fees. But we spend a lot more resources on events and programs like summer camp to build their self-confidence and also to keep them interested in learning. In junior high school, and beyond, like senior high school and university, financial aid becomes increasingly important because without the government free tuition, going to high school and college costs a lot of money, relatively speaking, to a lot of peasants. And our financial support is crucial to their continuing of education.
And when you talk about people benefiting, right, you've got this group, you say 20,000 kids. What percentage of them actually have HIV/AIDS?
Well, we have cumulatively supported 20,000 students impacted by AIDS to continue their education. And currently, we are still supporting 9,000 in our program. Many of them have graduated. So out of the 9,000 kids, 632 of them are HIV positive, so about 7% of them are positive.
And the rest of them presumably have one or both parents who have AIDS.
Or living with HIV, yes.
Okay. What would happen to these kids if it wasn't for your foundation?
I think a lot of them would end up uneducated. They might be psychologically more negatively impacted. Some might develop a hatred to the society. We have seen even children under our sponsorship who dropped out of school and ended up in jail. I think it is also very not uncommon gangsters to recruit orphans. This is true in Italy for the mafia and for many other countries. Because orphans tend to have less to lose and they have
anger anyway
to
towards
the society.
Is enough being done to fix the problem?
Not at all. I think what we have tried to do is a small portion of the social problem, and at the same time what struck me the most was the social stigma associated with HIV. Children orphaned by earthquake and tsunami often would receive sympathy from the society. But children orphaned by AIDS would often receive discrimination from neighbors and schoolmates and the society. I think we will continue to see social problem caused by discrimination. And HIV has always been a social issue, not just a medical issue.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Britt.
We're going to have more on this topic after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back to China Insight. There are more than 570,000 people with HIV/AIDS in the country, according to official figures. But steps are being taken to tackle China's AIDS epidemic. And to tell me more about the challenges that lie ahead is Dr. Wu Zunyou, who heads China's AIDS Center. Welcome to the program. In 2006, you had that landmark moment in the fight against AIDS in China, that piece of legislation that would regulate. How significant was that?
That's very important. So in the 2004, we already started effective intervention program that including harm reduction, provide methadone treatment for drug users. At the same time, we provide a needle exchange program and condom promotion. So that is in the policy level. However, has not become the law or regulation. When 2006, the AIDS regulation issued, all the strategy are legalized. So that provide very supportive, the policy support, makes all the intervention it's legal and acceptable.
So you agree that not enough was done before, but do you think that once the ball started to get rolling, everything was in place to really help these people affected by AIDS?
It's not that easy. So it takes a long time to get it ready. Even we have policy in the places, it's still we are short of funding and also short of personnel. At the same time, we are doing growing
and facing challenges ahead, obviously. China has a relatively low prevalence of HIV/AIDS. I think it's less than 0.1%, right?
That's correct.
But it's quite targeted in certain areas. Does that make it easier to combat or harder to combat?
The epidemic in China is diverse. It's not just one epidemic. It's many, many different epidemics. And also it changes over time. In the different province, the epidemic pattern also different. For example, even for sexual contact, in the urban area, it's primarily homosexual contact. In the rural area, it's primarily heterosexual contact.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought up education because China Insight took to the streets of Beijing to gauge if people really know how it can be transmitted. Let's take a look.
觉得是这个人的生活习性有点太乱了。
我学到的书本知识主要是血液传播，还有什么母子之类的那种传播，还有什么性传播。
艾滋病是通过血液传播才会得艾滋病的。
我觉得就是这个，也根据就是这个法律不严吧，我是这么想的，是的，就是主要就是这个太不正派了，是不是嘛？
献血，或者是垃圾桶里边，就是那种针头啊，或者是碎玻璃啊，可能是不小心碰到了、擦到了，有可能会因为这种原因得到。对，
像它不单单说是人与人之间的那种暧昧关系，它也有时候也许就是说，有很多就是亲朋好友啊，或者就是说食物、饮食啊当中。I
know that the first and most popular way that everyone would assume is via sexual intercourse.
一个就是血缘，就是母体的传染，然后还有就是同性间的一些行为，还有性行为这种。
应该是那种发生了性关系以后才能传播的。
艾滋病是通过一些性交的渠道吧，好像口水能传播。
Are you surprised by those answers?
Right. So, look at the interview. Some people do not know how HIV transmitted. There are a lot of misconceptions. That it's a little disappointed. We thought over 30 years we have relatively good education campaign program. So around World AIDS Day, we do have a larger media campaign. In the rural area, we do also have the person-to-person communication.
But this isn't a rural area. You're talking about in Beijing, the capital of China, and there's still so much misinformation out there. How do you fix that?
So I think we need to have more vigorous education program. Particularly, we need to have targeted message, particularly for people like the misinformation or misknowledge that need to be corrected.
So am I correct in saying the biggest transmission modes in China for contracting HIV/AIDS is through drug use and through blood transfusion?
That was correct. Now, sexual contact become major transmission mode. For example, last year, among newly diagnosed cases, 95% are sexual contact.
I guess the danger is that misinformation can lead to stigma.
One side, it's for stigma issue. Another issue because they do not understand the transmission mode. Even they're at risk, they do not perceive in the risk. So in the early of this year, I went to for county level. So a woman, she was newly diagnosed with HIV. And I interviewed her. She said, I never think about HIV related to me. I can be infected. The most important, I think, it's now we face in the young college student. So they do not perceive they are at risk. However, particularly for college male student, for they have sex with a man, the number of people infected, newly diagnosed, significantly increased.
So what about China's prevention and treatment methods compared to overseas?
If we look at international content, China has set a good model in terms of for scaling up HIV testing. Last year, we provide tests to 144 million. That number is about 1/3 of global HIV test total. We also provide harm reduction, particularly for medical maintenance. We scale up very fast. So we have 8 clinics in the 2004. Now we have almost 800 clinics.
If you could pinpoint something that, as you head into the future, what's the biggest challenge that faces China's AIDS Center, what would you say?
The most important is still education program, how to disseminate effective, powerful message that target the audience they understood and also could translate to their perception linked to their own relationship. Once we have education program, people always interpret, that's for not for me, that's for something else, not for me. In the next 5-year action plan, we do have the more focus on the prevention, and so the education program, particularly the media and the posters, all of this kind of message channel will be used to further raise awareness among general public, that including subways and all the poster board.
And hopefully next time we do those street interviews, we'll see a little bit more awareness about these. Thank you very much for coming on the program, Dr. Wu.
Thank you.
If you have any comments or questions, please email us at chinainsight@cctv.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Weibo and WeChat. And we'll see you next time for more stories and discussion on China out of China.